Do I want the door in the background? Well, I can't move the door, so it's gonna have to stay there. What's up guys, it's your girl Jasmine, bienvenido a mi canal. Today we're going to talk about how to learn a language fast. But before we get started, I would like to add in that when learning a language, it's gonna take time. I know I said this video is about how to learn a language fast, but if you do all of these things and you're consistent with it, then you will learn it pretty quickly. Let's hop right in to the video. So the first tip that I have on learning a language fast is to watch movies that you've already memorized in English or in your native language, but watching it in the language you're trying to learn. So for example, if I'm trying to learn Spanish, I put on a movie that is my favorite movie that I watch all the time, that I know word for word, and I watch it in Spanish, but add in English subtitles if you're really a beginner. If you feel like you know a little bit more, then add subtitles for that language that you're watching the movie in. Now, the reason that I'm saying to watch a movie that you already know word for word is because you already know what they're gonna say. So as they're speaking in the movie in a language you don't know yet, you already have an idea of what they're saying, so you can already have that context. To me, I just feel like it makes it easier if you already know the movie, but don't let that keep you from watching any movie you want in a different language, if that makes sense. The next tip that I have on learning a language fast is to listen to music in that foreign language. And again, I feel like it makes it easier to start off by listening to songs that you already know word for word in your native language and switching it over to that foreign language. I know that YouTube has many options for different languages. At least I know in Spanish there are a lot of songs that have been translated word for word into Spanish, and I believe French as well. Those are the only ones I've really done this with. So if you're learning like Russian or Chinese, do your research. The next tip that I have is to write on Post-it notes words in the language you're trying to learn and put them all over the house. For example, on a Post-it note, write down the word table in Spanish, for example. So write down la mesa and then put it on the table. So every single time you pass the table, you see it and you read la mesa. The same with the refrigerator, same with the door, the ceiling, wall. On all the items that you just see around your house, put the Post-it note there. So every time you see it, you read it, and this will help you to learn how to say that word. Another thing you can do is you can try learning using a learning app, as in, I know there's Babbel, I know there's Duolingo. Now those are the only two I kind of have experience with. The way that I learned, I actually stayed away from learning apps, but that is an option. Now this next tip kind of ties together with the watch movies in a foreign language to help you learn, but this one is to watch reality TV shows based in countries that speak that language you're trying to learn. For example, if I'm trying to learn French, I can research reality TV shows based in France. So this way you are able to hear how natives speak. When you're learning a language, you're learning it very formal, but actually when you hear locals speak, they don't speak like that. We cut our words down in English even. How many of you actually say, I don't know? We say, I don't know. So if you're watching a reality TV show or listening to how locals speak, you'll see that they do also slur their words a little bit, or they cut them short, and this will help you to actually learn how to speak like a local. Now this next tip might be more so for intermediate people, and it's to change your phone into that language you're learning. But if you really know nothing and you change the language in your phone, you might have some difficulties, but this will help you to learn words that have to do with your phone, or even speaking to Siri. If you don't have anyone to practice with Siri. Oh, the ice cream truck. Now, something that I find very important when learning a language is to practice it, and to practice with somebody. But I know a lot of us are not surrounded by others that speak that language we're trying to learn. So something that I did a lot was I spoke with myself in the shower. I literally had conversations by myself, two-way conversations in the shower. Yeah. But this actually helped me to think of, okay, when I'm talking to someone, what are words that I need to know in order to speak to them? And it would make me think. And then when I would forget a word or not know how to say a word, as soon as I got out of the shower, I would look it up, write it down, and that really helped me to learn. This next tip is to read in that language. Now this might be difficult, especially if you don't have a foundation in the language. So actually let me add in a tip before this one, and that is to think of all the basic words and look them up and write them down. But actually, if you are using a learning app, this will help you with learning the basics. But with me, since I did not use a learning app, I would think of all just basic words like good morning, good night, and I would look it up and I would write it down. And I would listen to the translation so I can hear how to properly pronounce the word. And I would actually write out the pronunciation of that word to help me when I'm going back and reading through what I wrote. Now going back to the tip I was saying to before that on reading in that language that you're learning. Now this will help you to increase your vocabulary, but I suggest that you start with children's books with pictures and everything, and then work your way up to chapter books. Now starting with children's books will really help you because in children's books it's basic vocabulary. But as you're reading the books, try your best to read out loud. This will really show you if you have the pronunciation down or not. And whenever you come across a word that you don't know how to say, look it up and listen to the translation. Now, I like to use Google Translator for this, but pay attention to repetitive words. It's just like when you're learning a new word in your native language. Whenever you come across a word that you don't know how to say, you gotta look at the context and then look it up on Google Translator or on something like that, and this will help you to increase your vocabulary. I'm really hoping this all makes sense. By the way, if you see me looking down, it's because I have my computer down here with my notes. Now this tip that I have may not work for everybody if you can't afford it. This one is to travel. Now this will really help you to learn the language. This will expose you to locals and you're really able to hear how they speak with one another. And this will help you to maybe even build connections with people that speak those languages as their native language. And when you fly back home, you can still have that contact with them and practice speaking with them and everything. But this might mean that you'll have to avoid the resorts and the Americanized parts of other countries. You might actually have to kind of go into where the locals are and explore other parts of the country. This won't only help you to learning more of that language, but you'll also learn more of the culture of those countries that speak that language as well. And don't be afraid to make those connections with strangers or locals in these other countries. Now, try to stay safe, but if you see an opportunity opening up to make a new friend, take that opportunity. Now, as you're learning a language, don't be afraid of sounding stupid. If you're afraid of sounding stupid to the point of that you do not want to say anything because you're embarrassed when you get something wrong, you will not learn. You learn through your mistakes often. When I was learning Spanish, anytime I would say a word wrong, I was grateful because someone would correct me and help me out, and that's how I learned. If I was too afraid to say anything, I wouldn't have learned Spanish at all. Another important tip is that consistency is key. Anything that you learn, you're gonna have to continue to practice and practice and practice so that you don't forget it. I guess an example of it is, say you want to get ripped and you're trying to get strong and you're trying to work out in the gym. If you go one day, are you gonna get abs? No, you have to be consistent. You have to continue to work out and to develop your abs or form the abs. I don't know gym talk. I go to the gym, but I don't know gym talk. Anyway, consistency is key in anything that you do, but especially when learning a language. Another tip is make it fun. All the things that you would do in your everyday life that you love to do, try to find a way to incorporate that language in there to help make it fun. And the last tip that I have is so important. Do not give up. Do not give up. I know it's challenging, but it's gonna be so worth it. It's gonna be so worth it. And all the opportunities that you'll see open up after learning the language. Don't give up. Do not give up. Alright, so those are all the tips that I have for you for right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Please help your girl out and subscribe and hit that like button and comment down below what language you're trying to learn. Okay, I gotta go because my battery's about to die, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye!